Alright, everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the marketplace as we are experiencing it here at MonsterModStudio.com. Hi, my name is Josh, as I said, and we are running MonsterModStudio.com online Pokemon business. So, first off, we'll talk about current state of the Japanese market and kind of go from there. So, I guess it's still crazy. Prices are still up across the board on all booster boxes, and I watch like these prices daily. They continue to go up, so I would say right now there's a potential for some stabilization. But yeah, the price increases that we've been seeing, I mean, price sheets that I check daily, it's just gone up. So if I were to buy stuff or put an order in, yesterday, by today, the price would have moved already. And that's normal for the Japanese market anyway, for the price to fluctuate daily. But it goes up and it goes down, like little ticks along the way kind of thing. But to have it go just constantly like trend up, yeah, it's a little crazy. What that really means for us is we'll just stock when we can, as prices have gone insanely high. And because we are still, a pretty small online business, our capital is still pretty small. So we are now having to just be more strategic where we place that capital. And right now, Japanese boxes don't make a ton of sense. There is, of course, a lot of demand for Japanese booster boxes, but when your margin is 5 to 10% per box, and if you have to dump in $130, $150, $180 a box, you're still only going to net 5 to 10% on that box. So that's a huge upfront cost to garner that 5 to 10%. You also have to be willing to find somebody who's willing to pay that for Japanese cards. Now, I'm sure online and across the country, especially on East and West Coast, there's probably a lot more demand for stuff, and people are a lot more willing to spend upwards of $200, $150 per, Japanese box. Around here, I'm not so sure. Again, we're in the Midwest, we're in Iowa, and I'm not 100% convinced. Now, that's the whole point of the website, right, is to reach, nationwide. But yeah, we're just not there yet. So, yeah, basically, we need to be strategic in what we're picking up now, and Japanese used to be the more affordable way of collecting Pokemon, and just it isn't right now anymore. So definitely a bummer. Are the prices going to come back down? I would say some suppliers think so. They think once the 30th anniversary hits, that will start to create I don't know why they think this, I guess, but maybe the hype will die off or die down and things will like return to normal. I don't know if that's the issue. Obviously, since I work a computer job, it lets me consume a lot of like PokeTuber content and whatnot. So I was watching Card Lounge the other day, or listening to rather, and Rob had gone to Japan recently and just kind of discussed how he was unable to buy any Pokemon packs while in Japan from Pokemon centers, from like local shops. No booster boxes, no packs, no nothing. They're all sold out. So that idea of, America drives the hype train, I mean, that's not really probably accurate. Where Japan, Pokemon is based in Japan. It's a Japanese company, so our hype train follows the Japanese hype train, like not the other way around. So if you can't get product in Japan, where the company originates, you definitely, you know what I mean? And if the prices are that hyped there, that means the prices are going to be hyped here. So, because they'll obviously supply, their home country first before they start, shipping stuff off, to foreign countries. So that makes sense. That makes sense to me, is that it's a simple supply-demand problem, is that the supply isn't high enough. The demand is extremely high everywhere. So that's what's driving up prices. That's classic economics. That's the way it works. So yeah, definitely a bummer. So What does that mean really down for us is, again, looking for ways to diversify. Yes, we will maintain a small amount of Japanese when it makes sense, and I think that's like the critical part here is that we like the Mega Block for sure, but it just at the moment doesn't make sense to stock the whole Mega Block. We like past sets too, Black White, you know, Journey Together, but it just doesn't make sense to stock those at the moment because how liquid are these boxes going to be truly? And for us, because we're so small and we have very limited capital, we just got to be strategic in where we're putting it. So we know things that are going to be extremely liquid where we can still garner our 5 to 10% margin, but the initial cost per box is going to be lower. So, and we are by and large very collector focused. So we like binder people, we like master setting, we like master setting specific Pokemon, and we like ripping packs for an affordable price. So for the thrill and the fun of ripping packs, because again, it's Pokemon, it's supposed to be fun. So that's what we're gonna focus on, what we're doing now. And as far as I would say the market on singles, oh boy. Obviously there are crazy parabolic stories about, and we can watch certain cards go astronomical. Gengar from Ascended, the Trikachu from Ascended, and even the Charizard from Phantasmal Flames. Like, these cards are going insane. And what I would say about that is there could be pumping. Like, it's pretty easy to manipulate TCG Player, to be honest. Like, having sold things on there, not a ton, but like a little bit, it's very obvious that because it tracks sales, like all you have to do is move something up, down, and the whole, like, there's not enough volume of sales to kind of weather outliers. So as soon as you get an outlier, you can watch the graph on stuff go up and down like pretty severely. So, which is ironically problematic, and this is probably a topic for a different video, but it makes the fact that we, as vendors and collectors and whatever, and anyone who uses TCG Player to like basically value their cards, I mean, it does seem a little strange that we are beholden to TCG as gospel. That's what I would say, is that because it's very easily manipulated. Yeah, it's anyway. all cards are going up right now. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, Journey Together cards are going up. What does that mean? Well, they're going up because they sell at higher price points. So if Journey Together is is a bad set, then why are the prices of the singles going up? Well, they're still transacting. So if Perfect Order is still, the prices are still decent on some of those cards, well, they're decent because they're still transacting. So if someone's willing to pay something for something, then that's a comp for it. So I think that's all that really matters in the end, is that if someone's willing to pay whatever the Gengar is at now, $1,400-$1,400, I don't know, he could even be like higher. If someone's willing to pay that, that's what it's worth. So it just is what it is. And across the board, all singles are going up. So I mean, great for us as vendors. Our value of our inventory is higher, obviously, than when we take in buys and trades. Everyone's just price, so everything's inflating. So now, whether or not that decides to come back down, it will at some point, because all markets across the world, across time, go up and down. It's just the way markets work. So this will come down at some point. I don't know when, but yeah. But it is true. All cards are going up. So regardless of what set they're from and what they're doing. So if you want a card, I mean, even the Dox Bun from Stellar Crown, that thing used to be like $25-$30, and now it's like $90. It's crazy. I mean, it's a good card. We said that card was undervalued since when we got in, even just in like October, I think, when we first found it. October 25, we're just like, this card is super, super cool. I can't believe it's only like $25. Yeah, and now it's 90. So there you go. So I think in the end that, if you collect what you like, that's really, you should be your driving focus on everything and not worry about market value on stuff. So obviously don't overpay on things. Just do your diligence on making sure that when you're buying stuff at a fair price. But yeah, just buy what you like and don't worry about the rest. All right, rant about Japanese, rant about singles. What are we gonna rant about next? Something for sure. We are in the process of looking at other TCGs outside of Pokemon. Why? Because I mean, we like collecting stuff in general, so it's not to say, I mean, Pokemon will still be like 99% of probably like what we do, but we just have opportunities to do some other things. And so right now we're just in we are applying our capital to where we know should be profitable or like worth it for us, basically. And does that mean getting into other TCGs? Like, we're definitely looking into it, so there is just a learning curve there, and whether or not our market here will support that, that's kind of right now the big outlier. That's the big question, is if we do branch out into something else, are we able to maintain a demand for it? So if we bring a new supply, like, will there be demand to like carry that through? So if there's no sell through on something, then clearly just not worth bringing in, but that means dead capital. So, and we can't really be having that. So for very obvious reasons, we don't want dead capital. So, but boots on the ground, when we're doing vending events, I would say that, we talk about hype. Well, I hear hype on Pokemon talked about on like PokeTube and whatnot, but I think that boots on the ground is really where like proof in the pudding is going to be. We're just using like a ton of analogies here, so hopefully that made some actual sense. But basically, boots on the ground, I work with vendors, or I work with patrons, customers, collectors at card shows, directly. So I see the hype train directly with them, and I can reasonably say that it's not like cooling off, really. I mean, obviously, depending on the area that you're in, which I've talked about in like vendor vlogs, where certain cities we do better in compared to others, and that could be for a myriad of reasons. But the demand simply isn't dying off. So yeah, I think it's just right now selling things, Pokemon in particular. It seems like we're on easy mode, that basically if you show up with stuff, someone will probably want it, as long as it's like reasonably cool. So it doesn't seem to super matter what it is. I think you'll just eventually find somebody who will want it. And yeah, it's a fun time to like be vending and have a TCG business for sure. Now, what does that mean long term? Well, since we sort of talk about classic economics, I bring it up. I would say that the longer a bull market runs, the more volatile that market becomes. So like, there is a point where, as the bull is rampaging through, it's fun and exciting as it like starts, but as the bull continues to rampage long term, it gets more chaotic and more violent and more volatile as it's foaming at the mouth and it starts crashing into things, and at some point it could stop being fun, and there could be bigger consequences as it gets more like kind of crazy. So I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not predicting anything, because I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't have enough history in this space to make any kind of claims whatsoever. It's just a general observation of, basically, the longer you have a good thing going, the more, as the graph goes up and to the right, higher and higher and higher, especially parabolically, there typically is then a parabolic in an equal amount of crash. So when that's coming, who knows? Is it after the 30th? Maybe. I mean, but everything will die off, and I think right now it's just the time to take advantage of the hype train, basically. That as long as that hype train is trucking along, get on board, take advantage of it, and basically, when it ends, we'll just deal with it when it ends and not to worry about it. So, yeah, but anyway, boots on the ground, like, people still collect, people still buy, people are still willing to pick things up. I mean, like, selling all four of the Chinese binder, like EV binder bundle things. If you guys don't know what they are, I'm sure you could just Google like what an EV bundle looks like, and selling all three of those at one show for 160 bucks. And like, I just got them in right before that event and sold all three of them in Iowa. It just seems like crazy to me, but people like cool stuff, and that's just that. It's that thing, is that we're all collectors at heart. So that's, as long as you got cool stuff, people want to buy it or go trade into it or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I would say it's probably all I got for now. Is so big key takeaways is Japanese booster boxes are through the roof. Supply is low in demand, or supply is low in Japan, and their demand is high, so, just like ours. So that kind of explains what's going on there. Singles continue to rise in price, and that could be for a myriad of reasons other than just the hype train and people realizing that Pokemon is an easy liquid asset to hold on to. So, yep, singles continue to rise in price. Where they end, I mean, who knows? But yeah, if you want a card, probably now is the time to potentially pick it up, depending on where it's at. If it's right at the beginning, hasn't gone up yet, pick it up because it'll go up eventually. If it's currently peaked and at its top, maybe don't pick it up unless you super like it when you got enough like capital to snag it. But dude, psst, you're fine. If you got enough capital to pick up a card that's like very highly priced, I'm thinking like, Phantasmal, Charizard, the Trikachu. If you got capital to pick it up now, cool. But I mean, it could come down again. I think those cards got some good chance to come down. But there's a bunch of low end cards too. That now's the time, I think, to pick them up. So, and then expanding into other TCGs, expanding into just diversifying our business. And I think in general, that's what I'm observing everyone's kind of doing. Everyone's jumping over to English Pokemon, which definitely does make sense. But I mean, we're looking at One Piece. We've considered Yu-Gi-Oh, but like, Yu-Gi-Oh just seems to have its own like little niche, whatever. And I don't know enough about Yu-Gi-Oh to whatever. So looking at One Piece, looking at some other TCGs, and see like we can't like get into something like that. But anyway, appreciate everybody for watching. And if you want to check out what we got on our site, monstermodstudio.com, link will be in the description. And yeah, we appreciate you.